So welcome to the M.O.B Borgata. Today's meeting is going to be beneficial to you if you are an enthusiast about cloud-based services, or you are working in a team or thinking about working in a team in the future, because you don't always have to be working in a team right now to be forward thinking and be progressive in your business and be thinking about how things should be set up. So when a team, does come into play, you have everything. You have a system set up that you use yourself and a team can easily jump in and begin working on. So there's so many different cloud-based services out there, for chatting and project management and CRMs and all kinds of different options that you can use. So what I'm going to do today is show you what we use. I am definitely not saying that what we use is the best. I don't even like to say that. I mean, I know that we have some CRM competition out there in the marketplace, and there's just so many choices that as long as you're using something and it's working for you and your team, then that's all that really matters. It's not, I'm not here to really push any particular product. All the things I'm going to show you today are basically free. Just show you how we use cloud-based services to our advantage to keep our team very efficient. We have 5 people on our team, in our real estate wholesaling team. We have myself, which I am the team leader and pretty much the coach and trainer for the people in our team. I do all the system setup, all the automation, all the IT, and coaching and training of systems and process and negotiating. So that's my job. And then Dan, my husband, he has also been in the business as long as I have. He is the marketing manager, so he takes care of choosing the lists. And we sit together and do our marketing calendar once a month or once a quarter. We review reports. So we're the business owners, and we are the decision makers and really the guiders of our team to make sure everybody knows what they should be doing, and we're all focusing on the same goal, because we have lots of goals in our office too that we try to meet. Then we have Ezra Francisco, who also works for Property Mob, but she is our virtual assistant, admin assistant. She does all of our administrative work, handling our marketing campaigns, closing coordination, scheduling, due diligence of seller leads, creation of postcards, marketing of properties. She just does, she has a, big giant list of tasks that she does. She does bookkeeping. I should have told her to send me a list of everything. I did that once. I asked her to send me a list of all of her tasks, because she's been with us 3 years now. I just add on. I'm constantly adding on, and I'm not sure where she keeps her task list, and she sent me her Google Calendar, and it was completely full. I was like, oh my God, never mind. I don't even want to see that anymore, because it was just completely full. Every day she just has, a giant list of things to do. So we'll talk about that. And then we have Lauren Fickey, she's in the Mobsters Lounge. She is our acquisition manager. She came on board with us. She went through my coaching program in September, and I really like this girl. She's got it. She's got it's rare for me to say that. And I snatched her up, and she is on our team as the acquisition manager. So she does all of the dealings with sellers, all the pre-screening, setting up inspections, negotiating, getting the contract signed. That's her job. And then we have Derek Kaywood, which is my son, who has been with us for over a year now. Once he got out of the Army, he came on board and got into the real estate business, and he is the sales manager. He handles all of the buyers, marketing for buyers, pre-screening buyers, building our list, negotiating with buyers, and selling these properties that we get under contract. So we have, a good team. Enough we could scale, and everybody can just focus on their job and do what is the most important thing. And, everybody can stay focused when they have one job. And being able to work collaboratively in the cloud is what helps keep us together. It helps keep everybody updated, and we know exactly what's going on, and everything is there for us. So that's what I'm going to share with you today, how our team of 5 people work together to get what we get done. And we are on an average of about 5 to 6 closings a month now. We're trying to make it up to 10 a month. And man, that's hard to do it our way anyway. I mean, we have a high closing ratio, and it's tough out there. Jacksonville is a competitive market. So we are consistently closing 5 to 6 deals a month. And, it's, to me, that's scaling the business. Dan and I, before we built this team, we're doing 2 or 3 a month. So we've doubled our business over the last year. And that has definitely required some fine adjustments, lots of automation, lots of systems, and, definitely these cloud-based services that I'm going to share with you today. Now, we've been using cloud-based since the virtual assistants started getting infiltrated into our business. So we started there, and, it's kind of just grown. But, when it comes time to scale the business and you want to do more, and you want to take what's working for you and just fuel it, then that's when your team comes into play, and being highly organized and knowing what is going on at all times. And, everything has a place, and it's not all over the place, and it's, online, easily accessible by your team. So I'm going to start, we may or may not go the full hour today. I have, several things that I want to show you, and, may or may not take a full hour, but I definitely want to share with you how we use each of the cloud-based services. So we're going to start. I'm going to turn on my screen. We'll show the main screen here. And we'll start with Dropbox. All right, so you may all be familiar with Dropbox. Now, what you're looking at right now is my Dropbox as installed on my desktop. So I'm on my desktop computer. I'm looking at Dropbox. It looks like how it would look if it was just on my hard drive. That's how I like to look at it. I'm going to go to my main Dropbox directory, so you can see I have lots of things that I keep in Dropbox, not just my business stuff. So I keep some of my personal stuff in here, and I have upgraded to the business Dropbox plan, which I think it's $99 a year for more storage, because I did run out of storage. And let me see what I have for storage. Does it even tell me? I'm not even sure. I have 1,000 gigs. Okay, so I guess I have 1 terabyte. That's kind of how it would equate. But so this is initially where we started keeping photos of houses. And I see the majority of investors, they do the same thing. They keep their photos on Dropbox. Well, that became an issue, and we'll get into that in a minute. But so maybe some other ideas for Dropbox. I keep all my tax returns, I keep here. I keep them in Dropbox. It's a secure server, and, I don't really want them on my regular hard drive, because it crashes. What if it crashes and I lose all of this valuable data? That's what I like Dropbox for. I'm not one of the weird people who don't trust internet stuff. I think that, it's secure, and I wouldn't put anything on Dropbox or Google Drive or anything that I really didn't, that I felt that was super highly sensitive, like, I don't know, a list of assets we had. I don't know, maybe, I trust the secure service. You may feel different than me. So anyway, I don't want to lose my tax returns, so I keep them on Dropbox. I keep my QuickBooks backups on Dropbox. So, I can share this with my bookkeeper, which I've changed since then to online QuickBooks. So we'll kind of touch on that. Let me just make a note about QuickBooks Online. If you have a desktop version, you may want to consider transferring over. So just some things that I would rather keep on Dropbox, I keep on here in the cloud. I can access it from anywhere, and I have found many times that I've needed to. Well, let's focus on real estate. All right. So in my Real Results Unlimited folder, of course, I've got subfolders in here, but I'm really going to kind of zone in on one thing, and that is our deals. Now, where the heck is it? Hold on. Our deals. All right, here they are. Our deals. Wrong folder. Okay, so in our deals folder, I have Jacksonville and Nashville because we are working in both markets. So not a lot going on in Nashville, but Jacksonville, we've got, here's all, because we've switched since then. I'll tell you about the change. So we used to put everything in Dropbox. So we have the property address, and then we put our CMA, our rehab estimate, and all of the photos, right? So we could go in here and look through the photos and see the inspection and make a decision on what to offer the seller. And that was fine. So you can see we've got numerous property inspections in here. Well, the issue that we ran into, and you may also, is space and storage, because if you have someone else going out to do your property inspections, they don't have the business Dropbox plan. They are limited on space, and photos take up a lot of space. If they're using an iPhone, those take big pictures. So we were running into the problem that the space was limited. Either Lauren's space or Derek's space, they kept saying, I don't have enough space to look at these photos, or I don't have enough to upload them. It's only enough if it's on my drive. So if I'm sharing the photos with them, the folder on where we want them so the whole team can access them, they have to have as much storage as I do so that the photos, we can all share the same amount. And that became a problem. So Dropbox is okay. I don't really like to delete photos yet. So we go out and do the property inspection. I already know that we don't buy houses as soon as we do the inspection. We have to follow up. And it takes 2 or 3 or 4 months, maybe 5, sometimes 6, sometimes longer, before we actually buy that property. So to save space, if I go in there and delete all these folders, my photos are gone. And when the seller comes back and they're ready to sell, I go look for the pictures. I don't have it. So now I'm like, geez, all my pictures are gone, and now I have to go out there again. And, I don't really want to do that. So I want to be able to keep my photos on file until I know the property's been sold. That's really when it's a dead deal for me. So we've moved away from Dropbox. The only thing that I've used Dropbox for now is personal stuff. Like I showed you, like if I want a hard drive and I don't want the risk of it being on a regular computer and crashing, losing my data, I put it on Dropbox because that is easily retrievable. So Dropbox is good. You can do the sharing link, but you're limited on space. So if you're in you're doing volume and lots of photos and videos, then Dropbox may present a problem for you in the future. That's when we went over to Flickr. So we switched to Flickr, and I like this better. It takes a little bit of getting used to because ads pop up. So we actually, here's one we just recently, we got this and sold it in a day. But it kind of works the same way as Dropbox. But with Flickr, you are given, like 10,000 terabytes of space. You can just have a million photos in here. So this was my headbanger guy who we actually just bought this property and 2 days ago or 3 days ago and sold it in 1 day. And this is the person who he liked multiples of 7, offered him 25, and he said he would prefer 28 because he likes multiples of 7. This is a $200,000 property in a very desirable neighborhood in Freakville. So anyway, the point of it is Flickr is a good place to store your photos. So because there's nothing on here, we created this account specifically for real estate. So I don't have my personal photos on here. I give everybody the login. So if they log into our Flickr account, meaning our team, they have access to these photos too. And it's also shareable. So I can just click this. Here's my shareable link that I can send to buyers if they want to see the property. So it works the same as Dropbox, but the space is ginormous. I have so much space in Flickr, it's not even funny. And, with this dedicated real estate account, everything I have in here is real estate related, to our properties. By the way, if I give someone this link to look at this album, this is the only album that they can see. We have, once these photos are uploaded by Derek, our property inspector, he does put them in private mode, so you can't go flipping through our photo albums and see what properties, what other houses we have out there, kind of pending. So that's what you will find when you are in here. You only have access to the album we send you the link to, which is kind of cool too. I like that. It's very similar to Dropbox. So that is Flickr. All right, let's move on to Google Drive. I love Google Drive. Oh my goodness. Let's close Flickr. All right, so Google Drive, again, serves as your hard drive. It works the same way. In fact, if we come over here to my hard drive, I can see that I have a Google Drive folder. So everything that is in Google Drive is mirrored right here just the same. It's, I just see all of my files and folders the same way. So if I can open them just like I would through my regular computer, I can search for the file names the same way, and when I double click on them, they're going to open in Google Drive. I kind of prefer to work through the browser. So in our browser now, of course, I keep some other stuff in here too. So you may be distracted by some of this stuff. I share stuff with Dan in here, and, we put budgets and stuff. We did a bathroom remodel budget. We put it in a spreadsheet in Google Drive, and, we shared it with each other so that we could keep track of how much we were spending on a project. But I like Google Drive because it's collaborative. And what I mean by that is that if you give someone access to a file or a folder, they can also make changes to it. And that is important in a lot of respects, where we need to be collaborative as a team and be able to work on the same document, the same spreadsheet, and the same presentation. So this is cool because Google Drive is very collaborative, and you can set specific restrictions on files and documents that you want people to have access to. So if we go digging into Ezra's folder, which I don't think she'll mind, it's all real estate stuff, and we go to Real Results Unlimited, this is kind of want to show you what we use it for the most is our marketing list. So in our marketing folder, we have all of our marketing campaigns in here, whether they are active or inactive. We keep them for a very long time because people will come back and surface from year-old marketing campaigns. So we keep them all here. Inside, let's say we go to evictions, you will see our eviction list in here. If we go to, this would be Find Motivated Sellers Now, we've got Jacksonville and Nashville. So this is just where our campaigns are currently being stored, and it's been that way for a couple of years. So all of the marketing list, if we want to search for a particular person, like I think this guy, his name was Kirk DeVilla. I can't remember his name. Kirk. Anyway, if I am looking, Ezra does this, that's why I don't know how to do it. If I'm looking for a particular seller to see what campaign he came from, then I'm going to, she enters his first name and last name, and then the list that he is on shows up in the window. So we can tell exactly which marketing campaign this person came from. Just by storing our marketing lists, all of our spreadsheets get housed right here, and we search for them as the leads come in and identify them, link them to a particular marketing campaign. I love this process. It's so easy. And if we have an additional virtual assistant or somebody else working on building a list for us, they just create the spreadsheet right inside our Google Drive, and they start working on building the spreadsheet for us. And it's right here for us to start working on. When it's done, we get a notification, and we can then just, transfer that list over to Click to Mail or not Go Big Printing, because I don't know if you saw the other day that there was an issue with Go Big Printing that more than one person is having, that if, we are finding our response rate, we started using them because they have cool postcard templates. So we, sent out about 15,000 postcards through Go Big Printing, and our response rate was really bad. And I think it has something to do with Go Big Printing, because we didn't change anything other than the company we used and the postcard that we sent. So out of those two variables, one of them didn't work out real well, and another mobster made a comment about Go Big Printing maybe not delivering his stuff, and he felt a little suspicious about it. So we've decided to go back to Click to Mail. Good old faithful, cards get delivered. They're slow, but they get delivered. Anyway, I went off on a soapbox there. So mailing lists can be stored in Google Drive. Best place for them, use up their space, not your computer space, and use it as a search engine to link your marketing campaigns to your leads if you don't have another method. This is just our method. It's what works for us. It's super easy, and it's part of our system. So I think other people may do it some different ways, but I'm just kind of showing you how we do things in our office. Also, training information. So we also have most of my training as far as business systems and processes has been moved to the Virtual Assistant Training Academy. So how we do everything is now in the VA Training Academy, which is what I use to train the virtual assistants, and I'm going to be opening that academy up very soon for other people to send their virtual assistants through. So if you have another VA and you want to send them through the training, that option will be available. But all of the training that I have used to be on Google Drive, and I have transferred all of the videos and documentation over to the Training Academy, where the trainees can log in and actually go through training and learn how to do everything that needs to be done to administratively run a real estate business. So you're not going to see a lot of that on my Google Drive. I turned it into a business, I monetized that training system that I had, but in your company, keeping it on Google Drive is a good option, because you can put videos in here, you can put your documents and organize them by what part of the system they're in, keep them all, nice and tight inside a little folder, and you can make changes to them and update them in the future if something changes. It's easy to pop into Google Drive, make the change, and everybody knows. It's in real time. You don't have to email documents around with updates. It's all right there. So let's say we have, how to skip trace a seller. We've got a simple instruction here on what we want them to do if we have a particular status on a seller. We have, some instructions here and what to do. So it's kind of a guideline of how to do very specific tasks. So you may see a couple: how to find a legal description, how to confirm daily appointments. So some of these things are specific to our company, and then, most of the stuff is pretty general, and it's in the VA Training Academy. We have contracts in here also. Now, our contracts we have built into our CRM, which I will, you may or may not know that. All of our contracts can be, with one click, just turned in, our lead and our offers turned into a real estate contract, because we've added our wholesale, our subject to, and our owner financing agreement is in Zoho. But it's also on Google Drive. So if we have a fuck you David, which is an affidavit and memorandum, we call it a fuck you David. That's here for if we need to fill one out. Our contracts with sellers, so we have an addendum, all cash, authorization, extensions, options, and subject to contracts. And then we have contracts with buyers, all cash, owner financing. We even have one specific for an iPad if we go out with an iPad. So contracts can also be put there, which is nice. Oh yeah, I got another. I just thought of something else. All right. So Google Drive, great for collaboration, document spreadsheets, task lists. real-time project management here. Simple though, not major project management, but really mailing lists, training information, contracts, and documents stored in Google Drive. All right, so we'll go to Google Calendar. Now, I know I've shared the Google Calendar with you in the marketing calendar Borgata. So I showed you a little bit about using the calendar and how these work on the left-hand side when you add a new calendar and you want to see only certain tasks that are assigned to a calendar. So if I put our Jack's marketing calendar, if I click that, when I do this, all of my Jacksonville marketing is going to show up on the calendar. So you can see, what we're actually mailing out. And we can go backwards and do the same thing. You see it for February, we'll see it for January, so that's our marketing calendar. And then we have, our Property Mob promotional calendar, different things show up. But this is just my calendar. I've got my personal calendar here that I can see. If I was to look at Ezra's calendar, I would probably have a freaking heart attack because she's got so many tasks. So if I give her a task, then I say, on the 4th day of every month, I want you to go into our QuickBooks Online and, enter all of our deposits and make sure they match with the bank account and, all this. She has it on her task list. Well, she has probably something for every day. She does mailings every Wednesday. She has direct mail that goes out and, first of the month stuff and Property Mob stuff and Mob Borgatas, and her calendar is just full. So if I just don't share the calendar with her because she's got a complete handle on how she manages her time and her tasks. But, kind of like you're seeing here. If I turned on all of these things, there would be a whole bunch of stuff on my calendar. And that's what I do. I just come in here and look at my calendar. I kind of go 2 days at a time and see what is on the agenda. I see I'm Mob Borgata today. I got an appointment tomorrow, 2 of them. I take the dog to the vet. So this is my personal stuff. I don't have, I could start clicking on and some more tasks would come up. But Google Calendar is very collaborative, and you can share your calendar with whoever you want, and you can make repeating tasks. So if you have something like bookkeeping, regular monthly meetings, and things like that you want to repeat, and you want certain people to attend these meetings or do these tasks, then you just invite them to the task. All of our closings show up in our calendar, and that is synchronized with our CRM. So we have it set up so that if Ezra schedules a closing, then it's going to show up in my calendar. Under my personal calendar, it's going to show up as a closing. It just keeps everybody organized. And it goes to our whole team. So everybody on our team gets an invitation to that closing. We know that it's closing. If it changes, if there's a schedule change with closing, Ezra updates it in the CRM, and it automatically updates everybody's calendar. So we may say, oh yeah, that was closing today at 3, but it's not now. We had to postpone it. And then, if we want to see why, we go to the CRM and have a look at that. So Google Calendar, very good for many, many, many things. I really like, I'm going to turn this off and go back to the marketing calendar. That's really the most beneficial. So if you didn't see that, check it out on the Borgata. All right, let's go to the CRM, and I'll show you how we use this for cloud-based services and keeping our documentation in here. So in the CRM, 2 main things that we use to store documents, other than our data from transactions and leads and things, we do use it also as a filing cabinet. So let's look at Ansley Street that closed in January. For all this stuff, has been documented as we were closing. But here's our filing cabinet. So in here we have our front-end contract that we can look at. Now, in Florida, I don't know about in every other state, but we are supposed to keep records of transactions for 5 years. So I don't know if that's just for licensed people or everybody. I don't know. But we keep our records for 5 years because that's how far back you can get audited with the IRS. So we keep everything for 5 years, and then we discard it. We shred it. In this case, we don't have to shred it. It's digital. We just delete it. Or we probably will never delete it out of our CRM. We can have records for as long as we want. Anyway, we've got our front end contract here. We can, check to see when it was signed and everything is kept. And we have our back end contract. So everything pertaining to this transaction, this one was sold by a realtor. So we got the contract there, documentation. Then we have our title commitment. Then we want to see what's going on with title. As soon as it comes in, it's sent to Ezra. She attaches the title work to the transaction so we can review it. And then we've got the HUD-1. And then once the HUD-1 is approved through our team and we say, yes, this is all correct, then she attaches the HUD. And that's the final HUD. We don't really care about a HUD with signatures because we just don't care about that. They usually send us one, but we throw it away because we have a digital one here. We don't really need a signed copy of the HUD. I don't really care. So all of our closed transactions are going to have this. So if I scroll through another one, if I go to 4th Street Circle, we have our documents are going to be attached here. Revised HUDs, assignment agreement. This is our transaction with Gucci Mane. I don't know if you know that story, but we've just named this guy Gucci Mane in our CRM. Lawrence Roberts would love this. He started this whole Gucci Mane thing, but now that's this guy's name and he's on our do not call list and he's a buyer and we will never call him again. So, you can see that this is a great place to store your transaction records. So here we've got, a little bit more filed here, condominium riders and articles of incorporation and bylaws from condos. So we have some things here that we just want to keep on file as part of the transaction. So, excellent place to keep documentation. It's all right where you need it. It's right where you need it to be. Then if we go over to the vendor section, we're looking at our bird dogs. Let's look at J.E. Pickle and hope that we have what we need on him. Yeah, we do. We got a property locator consulting agreement and a W-9 form. So this is a bird dog. We had him fill out our consulting agreement, agreeing to terms of being a bird dog here. He signed it. This was through HelloSign, and we attached his bird dog agreement and his W-9 form if we have to send him any 1099s at the end of the year. So you can keep all of your W-9 and independent contractor agreements on file in your CRM in your vendor module in the bird dog section. So that's pretty cool too. All right, for chatting with your team, you probably already know, especially if you have a virtual assistant of one of our virtual assistants, we like Skype. So we communicate on Skype for file transfers, and we can even talk in groups through Skype. You just start a group conversation. You can have group chats and have actual meetings on Skype, even video meetings and team meetings, and Skype in, other people if they're not physically present with you. Skype's reliable. I like Skype for all kinds of things. You can make outgoing phone calls on Skype. You can receive phone calls, chat with your team, your virtual assistant, your partners, and you can take it with you on your mobile device, and it's always there. So it's kind of like text messaging, but you can start a video call if you need to. HelloSign, I kind of want to show you that because it also is like a backup plan, a backup storage for your contracts. So if you use a digital signature software program, then you don't, unless you have them super highly organized, it's kind of hard to keep track of what's out for signature and what's not, if you're doing, a lot of deals. So in our completed HelloSign is all the contracts that have been signed by people. And if I want to look for something particular, like Ian Drive, I just use the search and, the contract should come up. Here's Ian Drive. I'm going to preview it. Make sure that's what I want. Let's say, it wasn't attached to our transaction in Zoho. I can go back to HelloSign and download it because it is right here. So this is a contract that a seller signed. And the last thing I want to share with you is bookkeeping. QuickBooks Online. If you sign up for, I think it's called Simple Start. Let's see, pricing. I think it's called Simple Start. Now, yeah, it is Simple Start. For $10.36 a month, you can sign up for QuickBooks, and all of your transactions from your bank account automatically sync with QuickBooks Online. So every day it goes in and grabs all your transactions, and it will start to memorize what, let's say you eat at a certain restaurant and you classify that as meals and expenses, or I'm sorry, meals and entertainment, and you frequent that place, well then QuickBooks Online will start to recognize that, and you won't have to categorize that one anymore. It'll say, is this correct? Is this meals and entertainment? You just, click the button. I know that QuickBooks Desktop does that too, but if and when, because you probably will, decide to hire someone to handle your bookkeeping, if you absolutely hate it like I do, then QuickBooks Online allows an accountant access to your account as well. So they can just log in and reconcile your account for you, even categorize your transactions, and do everything for your tax returns because it's there. And you can download it on a daily basis and go in there and categorize things. So QuickBooks Online I recommend it for bookkeeping. I like it. It's easy to use. Ezra can actually go into QuickBooks and categorize things. We have an Evernote account, which we'll kind of show you some Evernote too. Evernote's another cloud-based service. We use Evernote only for receipts. So business-wise, I use it for some other personal things, but for business purposes, we use it for receipts, either expense receipts or deposits. So if Derek puts a deposit in the bank, he will actually take a picture of it and upload it to Evernote. So you can see our folders over here. We have Real Results Unlimited stack, and then we got deposits and expenses. So if we look at deposits for this year, they'll come up. So we'll see. Now Ezra has access to Evernote. So if she's looking at our QuickBooks Online account and we look at this and we say, what was this $5,000 deposit for? She goes to Evernote and looks for this deposit receipt, and he writes on there what address it's for. Same thing here. He puts it in the bank and he takes a picture of it, uploads it to Evernote. So that's, kind of how we keep track of the deposits, because they're going to ask, what is this deposit for? Bookkeeper, what was this for? What was this for? So we have record of that. I guess this one he took a picture of the check instead of the actual deposits slip. This is something from Nashville. So Evernote is really what we use for deposits and expenses. Our bookkeeper has said if we use our debit card to swipe everything, it kind of serves as documentation for tax purposes. Unless it's a really big purchase, like something over $1,000, then we want to have a receipt and documentation for what that purchase was for. That's what we would put in Evernote. All right, so that is basically all of the cloud-based services that our team uses. And, not all of us have access to, I obviously have access to all of them, but, so your whole team wouldn't have access to Evernote, just the people who need it. And your whole team wouldn't have access to the Google Calendar, just the people who need it and use it. So, I've showed you some ways that you can use these tools and make your team more efficient and be a more collaborative team. Okay. So if you have any questions, I have a little time. If you want to, chat, put something in the chat box, or, if you want me to turn your microphone on, I have everybody muted. I can unmute you if you have a question you want to ask me about how to use any of these cloud-based services, or, any other questions you might have. Yes, Slack. I did sign up for Slack. The question was, have you ever thought about using Slack? And I did sign up for Slack, but I never got into using it. I think that was, isn't that like kind of like chatting, and it's a team collaborative chat. Everybody can see the conversations and things like that. I think that's what it was. I just never really got into using it. I heard them talking about it at Digital Marketer. They use Slack. I was like, what is that? So I went and looked because, I love new software and I like to try new things, but I never got into it. I even sent Ezra a login. I'm like, get Slack and we'll try it. And we never did because, we're just so used to using Skype. And we like the emoticons on Skype. We can't not have emoticons. They actually help us express what we're feeling during the day. I know it sounds dumb, but we use the emoticons in a big way. And if Slack doesn't have that, then they're out. They don't get our attention. We got to have emoticons. So, not something I've tried. I will show you one more thing. It's Zoho Projects. Now, if we go to Zoho Projects, I've got a couple of projects in here. So I have Property Mob and Real Results Unlimited because, we juggle both. But let's go to Real Results Unlimited and add a task list. So I've created task lists inside of Zoho Projects. And I don't know why I've got these lines on here. That it doesn't usually look like that. So I guess they're doing some upgrades or something. So I got a task list template. Let me have a look at it. Let me see. Marketing checklist. Let's go here. I got a couple in here. Let's see. All right. So we've got a marketing checklist. So with a new property, we have a marketing checklist that it's a little different than working inside a CRM because we know internally when these triggers should take place. So we have, our Craigslist ads, our email broadcast, text messages, phone calls, Facebook page, MLS. These are all tasks for Derek. Contact realtors, check. We got a couple of Gmail accounts for Craigslist. So I like the Zoho Projects. We use that for a lot of things. Task list for people. I use it for Property Mob more so than Real Results Unlimited, but we do use the Zoho Projects for marketing. So when a new property comes out, we just bam, click the button, the whole checklist comes up. Some other ideas for Zoho Projects would be rehabs. So if you have a system for rehabbing properties that you do over and over, it's something that, is part of your system, then Zoho Projects is an excellent, excellent tool for managing your project. I like it a whole lot. It's easy. I like things that are easy to use and easy to figure out and navigate around. The notifications are similar to Facebook. You get, it has a feed. You can check the feed and read notes and make comments and things like that. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so the question is, why are you taking pictures of receipts if all of your bank transactions are going to QuickBooks anyway? Well, because our bookkeeper likes for us to identify the property address for each deposit. I don't know why. She's weird. But so, we may see a deposit come in on QuickBooks, but we don't know which property it's for. So the deposit slip matches the bank account deposit on QuickBooks, and if Ezra's matching them up, she doesn't know what property that was for, so she can look at the deposit slip. Sometimes we have two checks that go in one deposit, so she identifies them through a property address. And I don't really like that. I'd rather just call everything assignment fee, but You know, the bookkeeper has her preferences, and okay, if she, you know, that's how she likes it, that's fine. And I kind of like to see the report too at the end of the year and see the list of properties and say, oh, look, cool, this is cool. Look at all these, you know, houses that are on our sheet. But I don't know. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm talking to her now about, well, let's just call everything assignment fee and get away from identifying her address. Also, you know, we have some rental properties and some mortgages that come in through payments, so we just have to keep track of what they're for. And since we don't really deal with the deposits, we just like to have a record. I like to document everything. I mean, I am super anal about documentation and details, so it's just like another verification. We don't have to question anything. If we see it on the bank statement, we see it in QuickBooks, and we see the profit on Zoho, then we should see a deposit. So it's just, you know, I like to double, triple check everywhere. Our team, you know, we're all designed to have checkpoints, and that's just one of them. So trying to get away with that. So we don't have to do that. It's $5,000. I know what it is. It's an assignment fee. I don't care what house it was for. All right. Any other questions? I know this wasn't a super exciting Borgata. Maybe it was for some of you, but just, you know, maybe seeing some ways that you can use your cloud-based services, and all of them are, you know, relatively inexpensive, if not free, that you can start implementing into your team. I really like the Dropbox transition to Flickr too. I didn't like it at first because if you're looking through your photos, you see ads that come up, but eventually you become numb to it, and you're like, oh, that's not my house. That's some girl with a new purse. And you skip right over it because we're in a world of ads, especially with the internet. So hopefully you gained some golden nuggets out of today's Borgata. We'll be uploading it and saving it in the archives in the premium member section. We welcome your suggestions and ideas for Borgatas in the future. We already have one planned for next month. We're going to revisit the Facebook advertising. That's a very interesting topic. I think I'm going to have our fellow mobster, Mr. Landau, on here. He's doing pretty good with some ads he is running right now that are very interesting. So I'm just going to revisit the Facebook advertising, the retargeting pixel, kind of go over that some more in depth. I've got several more months under my belt. I use the Facebook advertising heavily in Property Mob, so I definitely am familiar with it and can give you some ideas on how to implement that. They've got some new features out that you may not know about in Facebook advertising, and you'll be excited to hear about those. So next month will be a very good and meaty Mob Borgata. So we took it kind of light this month. Hope you liked it. And as always, you guys are awesome. And I will see you around.